Hey guys, I'm going to share with you a word that I believe the Lord has given me today. And this is a word and a warning to pastors that are allowing their wives to destroy the flock, to destroy the sheep. It is time to take accountability, because when it comes to the house of God, when it comes to the house of God, when it comes to those who are entering into that ministry, God is going to hold you accountable. And some of you are aware, and there are those of you, you're not aware of the evil and the wickedness of your wife, doing a lot of damage and doing a lot of evil within the house of God, breaking people in spirit, setting people against each other. She carries that spirit of Jezebel. Jezebel is a spirit. It can be male or female. In this case, she is doing not only operating under the influence of the spirit, but also doing a lot of things like Jezebel did with Ahab. You're remaining behind the scenes and you're turning a blind eye. And because of your love for her, and some of you, you're being controlled at home by her. But some, because of your love for her, you have this trust for her that is a carnal and an eros trust. You're not discerning and you're not seeing the wicked spirit that is operating in her and how she is slaughtering people in the house of God. Jezebel will take the ring of Ahab and write letters, and she would send letters out to the elders and to other people to get them to do things to others, such as how she set up Naboth. She told them what to do to set him up. She told them to call a fast, to set up this situation that seemed as if it would have been a holy setting. She set them up and told them to cause some people to put Naboth, to set him in the high seat, in a prominent seat. And then she also instructed them to get some people to make up some lies about him. All using that seal and that power that's been given to her. The position that she had with King Ahab. And so Naboth, because he would not sell the vineyard that has been in his family for generations to King Ahab, who promised him to give him things that were bigger and better, which means Ahab just wanted this because of the convenience of wanted his vineyard because it was close to his palace. But in fact, Ahab had more things. And so Naboth was murdered, set up, betrayed, slaughtered, stoned to death, simply because he would not give up. Because he was a man of integrity. He would not give up the land. He was a man of integrity. He wanted to keep his family's vineyard. He was murdered, and Jezebel carried it out. You see, there's some individuals where your wife will listen to the things, and perhaps you're just expressing to her the things that you have going on, perhaps a situation that's going on in the ministry with you and a person, and she will go behind the scenes and be doing wicked and evil things to get rid of people. Other times, she listens, but in her heart, she feels there's a different way to do things. And she's doing a lot of wicked and evil things behind your back. And there are things that it's coming to you and God is showing you, but because you love her so much, you're making excuses for her. And because of that reason, you're going to find yourself standing before the throne of God. being judged, the judgment and the wrath of God coming in your life. And some of you, you know her. You may stand up and defend her, but one thing you know, she has a history of this behavior, because it's not the first time. Maybe someone may have said something to you regarding her. Some of you, you have jealous wives, mean-hearted, vindictive wives, full of pride. She cannot be told anything. Some of you, you have no control. She does not listen. She disrespects you. She threatens you. She withholds sex. She does all these things. And so when she's in the house of God, she is given full reign to do whatever, because you don't want to be in the doghouse, so to speak. So therefore, she is your God. She is on the throne of your heart. You are bowing down to her and that unclean, filthy spirit that operates in her. The Bible tells us in the book of Revelation, where the Lord was not pleased with those who followed after Jezebel, who she's teaching, and she's basically teaching the congregation, or teaching the people, and sharing, and this is me paraphrasing, basically she's causing people to stumble into fornication and adultery. And she's been given time to change, but she continues to preach things that are just not godly, or comes from a place of hatred, a place, sometimes people can be talking and saying God, but the spirit in which the messages are being delivered can make it wrong. It's like someone create a delicious meal in a container or pan that is filthy and dirty, unclean, and filled with toxins. It may still, that you can still cook something nice in it, but it's poisoned. And so the vessel, she's causing many to fall into fornication and adultery. And that can mean physical adultery and fornication, as well as spiritual, turning people away, having a spirit of Vashti. Vashti would not come before the king. And so she did something that would have set an example for all the other women in the kingdom to follow. And so she can have that spirit of rebellion, entering into the house of God, bringing feminist mindsets. And while there's nothing wrong with women being given rights, because we find in the Old Testament, where I believe it was Moses, and there were daughters of a father who had passed away and he had no sons. And these women were able to come before Moses and lay their claim and speak about being able to receive their land and to receive what their father has left behind. And they stood before the princes and all, and the Lord said, give these women their land. Let them own their land. Give them what their father has left for them. He has no sons. And that land was given to them, and these women were allowed to speak freely. Deborah was a judge, and the men of Israel followed her asked her, come with us into battle. So therefore, God is not against women being utilized and used and being given what belongs to them. But the feminist is about totally changing the dynamics of families. And so when it comes to that, this is the problem, where there's a cause there's a right and a cause, but then it's changed and perverted, and it becomes something else, a different agenda that is ungodly. And so you have that type of your wife may be that way, and she's in the house of the Lord, rebelling against you, disrespecting you, undermining you as the man, as her husband. And this behavior is she's causing other women to behave this way, the spirit, because she's showing and teaching either verbally or by action. And so they rebel against their husbands. Or sometimes they may not do it outrightly, but that spirit, that undertone is in the household. I'm not one to believe men are to dominate. They're not to dominate. There's a difference between dominating and leading. But she's teaching things. She is bringing division in households with her behaviors. She's also bringing division in households by thinking because of her position, she can direct somebody else's husband. She's causing division in the house of God by even sometimes being beguiling in word, flirting. She can be emotionally attached, causing someone to become emotionally attached to her, and vice versa, where the loyalty of that man is more to her. There are many things that you do not know, and some that you do know. And God is bringing revelation of rebellious wives, evil and wicked women placed in these positions of being a pastor's wife, never called to begin with. But she's placed in that position. And just as Samuel made the mistake with his sons, Eli made a mistake with his sons where he allowed them to behave a certain way. They were doing a lot of wrong in the house of the Lord. They were taking bribes. They were robbing the people. They were doing a lot of ungodly things, but because they were his sons, he did not do anything. He will warn them and he'll talk to them. But yet and still, interesting enough, he got to a place that he allowed them to do ungodly things. And when that happened, guys, it brought the wrath of God. His sons were punished. I believe they lost their lives. And Eli fell back and broke his neck. Eli broke his neck. He allowed his sons to do so much. And it is the same way. Many wives, many women who are in leadership positions, pastors' wives, are behaving this way. And you're allowing them to do a lot of things. Like the spirit, with that spirit of Jezebel, pushing her own agenda in the house of God, bringing in her own strange gods and beliefs, not allowing people to do what they've been called to do in the ministry, overriding, using her own personal prejudices and biases and her personal feelings. It's affecting, and she uses that to remove people from positions, make things hard, set people against others within the ministry. There's a lot of things that she's doing, and you're allowing her to do it. Just as Jezebel has the signet of the king, writing letters, making plans, stirring the pot, getting people killed, killing all the killing and slaughtering all the prophets of God, replacing them with her own. The truth is, you may think, my wife is not doing this. But some of you know, God will show you. God will reveal it to you. Because the same way she's running the household with an iron fist and overriding you, it's the same way she's doing it in the house of God. And others, she is behaving as if she is wonderful and supporting you. and loving. But in the church, she's doing something different. Now keep in mind, every pastor's wife is not like this. But there's a demographic of you that this message is for. And God is calling you to the throne. He's calling you before him to rectify this. You must choose who you will serve. Are you going to serve your wife? Are you going to allow her to destroy the house of God? Are you going to allow her to destroy souls? Are you going to allow her to destroy the vision? Or are you going to choose the Lord and follow his directives? I am not in any way encouraging anyone to do any physical harm or violence to their wives. I'm not telling anybody to divorce their wives. That is not what I am saying. I've not been led to give you anything specific like that. But I am here to tell you what the Lord has given to me. And you, in your face-to-face with God, when you're getting in his presence, he will tell you what needs to happen. But it's just in my heart to talk about the onslaught of souls and the tyrannical behavior of some of your wives that's doing a lot of things. You know, people can be do a lot of tyrannical things and look so sweet and kind on the surface. You know, have that iron fist in a nice velvet glove, looking nice, but God is revealing the heart of the wicked. There's a lot of people that have left your ministry and you never knew why. There's a lot of individuals that was there and suddenly they're not. There are people you may have wanted to reach out to and your wife will tell you, no, I've got it. I'm taking care of it. No, she doesn't want you to discover what has happened. She doesn't want you to know the truth. And then there's some people, they'll never tell you the truth because they see that you are blinded. They're not going to tell you. They don't feel the freedom to tell you anything, because if they do, she's going to turn the story around. You're going to be manipulated, and they will end up getting the consequences. So sometimes it's better for them to simply leave. Then there are others who just stay there because their souls, they're young in the Lord. They'll stay there and they'll just allow themselves to suffer. Others would allow themselves to be influenced and manipulated by her. I'm not here to turn the heart of a husband against the wife. But when it comes to God and when he's called you to a ministry, he's called you to do things, he's going to hold you accountable. Just the same way he will hold, if you were the one doing these things, he would hold you accountable. Like Ahab and like Ahab, you are asleep. There's a fear of her in some cases. And others, you may be like Samson. You're so enthralled by her beauty, your head is in her lap. You cannot see that she's going to call the Philistines on you. Your head is in her lap, but she's calling the Philistines on the people to destroy them, to find their weaknesses and destroy them, to put their eyes out. It's time to wake up, men of God. It's time for you to see the direction in which your church, your ministry is headed in. For those of you who have churches, those of you that's truly called by God, but you've lost your way because you are allowing the dynamics of home to influence the house of God. When it comes to the house of God and the things of God, there's no such thing as what she wants, she gets, or what he wants, he gets. It's not your house to begin with. The house of God does not belong to you. Souls do not belong to you, nor to her. It's when God sends people and he has called you for something and you allow it to become perverted, you're going to be held accountable. Think of Eli, the great things that he was doing, but yet his heartstrings, his love for his sons allow him to turn a blind eye. He was warning them, but he would not remove them from their positions. Even though the people of God, the people of Israel were complaining, He didn't remove them. And I believe this was where the children of Israel just got so frustrated what was going on with them, that with the sons, that they asked for judges. They wanted to have a judge. They wanted to have a king. And sometimes you can find the behaviors of such wives can really cause people to make decisions and choices that can cause them to really go down a path of pain and being diverted because of the constant onslaught, the subtle onslaught, the overt onslaught, just the heaviness and just being in that ministry. Her behavior is really affecting and destroying people. It is time to repent and turn to the Lord and seek his face on what he wants you to do. Understand that this message is not for everyone. This is not a message for people to jump on it and want to get rid of a woman who's godly, who's caring, who supports you. There's nothing wrong with a wife who will tell you and really be a support and a help me to you. It is very important that a pastor considers the needs of his wife, protects her in ministry, because there are people who they just love the pastor, but they reject and they mistreat their wives. The voice of the wife is not heard. That's very important, because there are pastors who they will treat every woman in the church right, but not their wives. Women will have unprecedented access, unlimited access to him at the expense of his wife, and that's not it. She is your helpmeet. She is first. She's at your side. She comes before any other woman. So we don't want to get it mixed up here to be like, to encourage people who are abusing pastors' wives and disrespecting them, disrespecting the wives, flirting with a husband, or the men anyone can disrespect her and abuse her, because sometimes that can bring that pastor's wife to get to a place of bitterness. But that's not what this video is about. No, the husband is still supposed to love her and cherish her as he would his own self. He's supposed to protect her. That's what it is. But sometimes that is twisted, and you are not supposed to allow her to do evil in the church, to do evil against people. That's not what protecting her is. You're not protecting her at the demise of other people. That's not what that means. And so this message is just for these men, pastors, bishops, leaders, whoever you are. You will know who you are when you hear this. God is holding you accountable for allowing her. Your wife, some of you, your wives are doing a lot of wicked and evil things in the house of God. False prophecy, making false claims against people, just like Jezebel did against Naboth. Setting people against others, setting people up simply because of a personal vendetta. God sees it and he's going to deal with it. He's going to deal with it. He's going to deal with her. He's going to deal with you. And God is especially you, because you are allowing it to happen in the house of God. This is not a message, again, to create strife, violence, divorce. I'm not here to tell you to do anything like that. The Lord has not instructed me to tell anyone to leave their wives. He has not given me that. When you talk to God and you seek his face, the Lord will tell you exactly what needs to happen. But the bottom line is, choose this day who you're going to serve. You're going to serve your wife, or are you going to follow God? Because sometimes there are women who believe they have you in that catch-22. Oh, you're never going to choose God over me. And you're going to stand before the Lord, not only for yourself, but for the blood on your hands, for the souls that are being destroyed and slaughtered in that house spiritually by this one woman who has a rebellious spirit, a prideful spirit, an entitled spirit, a vindictive spirit, a seducing spirit, an ungodly spirit, a rebellious spirit, rebellious against God. And so this is why she behaves this way. And fear keeps you. But Matthew 19:29 says, he who has given up house, homes, cattle, mother, father, brother, sister, husband, wives, children, lands for my sake shall inherit 100-fold and eternal life. I believe the Lord does not have that in there just to have it there, because there are times and situations where we'll be faced with making crucial choices. The biggest thing today is that there are souls that are being destroyed in your church, in your settings, whether it is the actual church, a home church. There is a rebellious, darkened, abominable spirit by which some pastors' wives are operating in and doing wicked and evil things. And God is calling you to repent, to change. Joash, I want to say it was, I can't remember, or was it Jehoshaphat, put his own grandmother, he removed her from a position that she was in. I can't remember, because she was introducing strange gods. He broke down all those altars and everything she's ever believed in. Because when it comes to the things of God, it's not about, oh, this is my mom, my dad, this is my wife, my husband. You have to choose God. You can't put your husband before God. That is a grave error, a grave mistake. The problem with many of these women is that they are unrepentant. The Lord said, he gave in the book of Revelation, he gave her room to repent, and she would not. So therefore, he destroyed her and those that follows her. And that is what's going to happen. If you care anything about her, you should care about her eternity. Because she's destroying souls. She herself will be destroyed. And God is looking at you. What are you going to do? Some of you, this message will resonate because you know what's happening and you feel helpless. Others you suspect, but you don't want to think it. I'm not telling you to just take the word of people against your wife, because that can be very dangerous, because there are people who can hate her. But you will know and you will see the truth, because God's going to show you. It's just going to be revealed. He did not put you in that position for you to be blind. He did not put you in that position so for you to be blind. You see. And as covert as she may operate, and as covert as she may be, God will open your eyes and let you see an instance. You'll see her doing something very nasty. You'll see her doing something and see something she's done, and she explained herself away and you believed it, even though somewhere in your spirit you were not quite satisfied with what she said, but you just wanted to believe that. And I want to tell you that if she is at home mistreating you, can hold grudges against you for a long time, and do wicked and evil things to you, or the children at home, as far as, that head games and the denial and the just reject you and the silent treatment, if she's doing that at home, you can be rest assured she's doing that at the church. This message is not for everyone. Whoever it's for, seek the Lord on how you need to approach. God is calling you, because this is serious. It's gone on long enough. The blood of those that's been spilt is crying out to God. It may not be physical blood, but their spiritual blood. The things that has happened. There are people that's left the church, left the ministries, that are broken, that have backslidden, that want to have nothing to do with the Lord, that are oppressed, that are suffering, that are in an all-time low because of what your wife has done. Not knowing is not going to be an excuse for God, because in the midst of all of it, you would have always known because he told you. All right, guys.